We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the Midas Touch Network. America is at war. I spoke to my kids on Saturday morning as the first reports were coming in, so they would remember this moment, so they would appreciate its significance. They know what their dad did before they were born. They know how much it affects me when my brothers and sisters in arms go into harm's way. But when I said to them, America is at war, my middle daughter pushed back. She said, "This is Trump's war, Dad." And in a sense, she's right. The vast majority of Americans disapprove of what is being done in our name. Our president has had every opportunity to explain the decision, to rally public support, and he does not care. Remember, we just had to sit through the longest State of the Union address in history, which would have been a great time to make the case for war with Iran. And instead, we got whatever that was. So my daughter has a point. This is a war of Donald Trump's choosing. But it is America's war because it is our weapons raining down on Iranian cities, and it is our sons and daughters, not Donald Trump's, who will carry out those missions and bear the cost. And already, Americans are dying, as are Iranians, many of them innocent. So even though we have been thrust into this by the most incompetent, corrupt, and immoral regime in American history, this is America's war, which means we have some responsibility here. Normally, it is Congress's job to make declarations of war and to constrain the executive's war-making powers. That won't happen as long as Republicans control both houses. Those Republican representatives, with fewer exceptions than I can count on one hand, have long since abdicated their duty to act as a separate branch of government, which means it is up to us, the people, the voters, to demand a Congress that upholds its constitutional prerogatives and that finally reins in this rogue presidency. I have attended or read more briefings than I can count from the so-called messaging experts in the Democratic Party about how we need to focus on the mythical kitchen table issues. I maintain that the issues we talk about on this show, war and peace, fundamental civil rights, government brutality as policy, these are kitchen table issues. These are things that American families care about and are talking about around the kitchen table. Maybe I'm wrong, but my guest today doesn't think so. And over the past few months, she has spent countless hours talking to Americans about these very issues. Ambassador Bridget Brink is running for Congress in Michigan's 7th District. She served as our ambassador to Ukraine at the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion and later resigned in protest over Donald Trump's decision to stab Ukraine in the back. We've had Ambassador Brink on the show a number of times because she really does have her finger on the pulse of what voters in a purple district are thinking. Just one note, we recorded this right before American bombs started falling on Iran, but in some ways that makes Ambassador Brink's insights and observations all the more prescient. If you want to help her campaign, please click the link in the show notes. Here's our conversation. Bridget, thanks so much for joining us. You are running in a purple district. It was less than a 4-point spread last time, taking on a Republican incumbent. What are you hearing on the ground from Michiganders who are fed up with the state of the economy, the state of America's reputation across the world? I mean, it feels like we are reaching the kind of inflection point or realignment that could shape American politics in fundamental ways after November.
Oh, Ken, thanks so much for having me on. It's great to see you again. I have to say, what I'm hearing, and we're in the middle of a door knocking campaign where we're knocking 10,000 doors in the middle of Michigan winter, and we're hearing exactly this, that people are at a breaking point, that they're incredibly frustrated with not only our local representative, Tom Barrett, who I'm running against, but also the Trump administration, and that a lot of the promises that had been made are not being fulfilled. And meanwhile, all the votes have been doing things that are raising prices, whether it's votes to continue tariffs against Canada, our biggest trading partner, whether it's votes to take away health care to our moms and our kids, and that was with the big ugly bill, but also, again, not to extend the ACA subsidies, whether it's what they're seeing around the country in Minneapolis and other places where, you know, rights, foundational rights and freedoms are really being tested and crossed in ways that I think we as Americans have never seen before. And what I'm hearing on those doors is that people want someone just to stand up and do what's right. This isn't even a political issue. And I mean, my district is a purple district. So there are people all across the spectrum. And what I'm hearing is that people just feel like they want leaders in Washington who are going to do what is right for the district, no matter what. And that makes me even, I guess, more determined than ever that my decision to resign in opposition to the Trump administration and the policies that I saw when I was ambassador to Ukraine, and to come home to Michigan and to run for office. So we're feeling really energized. We're taking all that input because I think this is also part of the problem is we need leaders who will listen. And then we need leaders who are going to step up and act. And that's exactly what I'll do if elected to Congress.
Are people on the ground tying some of those international issues to domestic issues, to quality of life issues and the price of things? Are they looking at our threats against Iran or our actions in Venezuela, which, by the way, still has the Maduro regime in power? Or, I think most outrageously, our threats against a NATO ally, Denmark, over a piece of territory that already gives us all the cooperation we want, Greenland. Are those conversations coming up? And if they are, how are people relating to them given the struggles around the kitchen table?
Well, absolutely. I mean, first of all, we have a lot of people who, I mean, we are a border state, right? So Canada is our closest neighbor and our closest friend and the most important trading partner for us. And this includes for farmers who need to have equipment. It includes for auto workers where auto parts go back and forth over Canada multiple times. It includes all of the things that small businesses need when they're selling their goods. So one thing that people can't understand at all is why we're putting tariffs on Canada. This hurts Michigan directly. And it also is what Tom Barrett continues to vote for and has enabled multiple times. Another piece of our district, I mean, we're a kind of, I'd say, practical, do what's right, have integrity kind of district. And I don't think people understand why we're abandoning our friends. There's a clear understanding that we need and want friends and allies overseas and partners. And so if you look at what's happening